Okay, thank you all for coming. Welcome to October edition of the Ethereum Berlin Meetup. We're back after a bit of a hiatus. We're already running a little bit late compared to this agenda that we planned, but that's how it goes. That's consistent. Just to kick things off, Eniko and myself will do a little intro here first. Eniko and I both work at the Ethereum Foundation, and I'm based in Berlin, and Eniko is partly based in Berlin. After that, we'll have Lefteris over here. He'll come talk a bit about privacy, which is something that he's working actively on and has been on for a long time. And then we'll finish off with a really, really cool panel and discussion around privacy in Web3 with a couple of people who were at the Cypherpunk retreat a couple of weeks ago here, just outside Berlin. That's pretty much what we're going to go through today. First, I just want to say welcome to the 12th year of Ethereum Berlin meetups. I think that's pretty impressive that, we celebrated the 10 years of the Berlin Ethereum meetup last year at Seabase. That's where one of these, the screenshot here is from. And now we're on to year 12, and I think that's incredible. And as you probably all know, Berlin has a very special place in Ethereum's history. I don't know who took this photo. Maybe Lefteris knows. I just took the photo from his Twitter, but you're already on the photo. But obviously a very special photo from the mainnet launch in 2015. I think the ecosystem here has really grown. We see that in particular during Berlin Blockchain Week, or this year it became Blockchain Weeks because there were so many different events. Here are some of them happening this year. We also had ETH Berlin last year, and we've had many ETH Berlins, and we've had many DAppCons in the past as well, and several SafeCons as well. And it really puts Berlin on the map, and we see how many things that are happening and how strong the community is here. But I think it's also fair to sometimes ask, what happens when the visitors leave, when it's that 1 week or 2 of the year when everyone is in Berlin, then it's the rest of us that are left. And how do we make sure that we continue to cultivate a strong crypto ecosystem here? I would argue that the ecosystem is very big and it's quite strong here, but I actually think the community itself can be strengthened. And Eniko is going to talk a little bit about some of these things. I would also pose it as a question here about what we can do to strengthen the community. Is it that we should be more regular with these kinds of meetups? Should we have more places to meet and work, like Full Node, for example? Or is it that we need better coordination, better online communities where you can meet people and catch up with people that are like-minded or working on similar things? I think that's something that we can really improve on at the state of where things are here in Berlin currently. Now I'll pass it over to Eniko to talk a bit about some new initiatives happening.
Yeah, thanks so much, Martin, for the intro and also for your work that you've been doing here in Berlin. Martin is heavily involved with a lot of those events that he mentioned, so thanks for your work. And thanks all of you for showing up. There is a lot to do in Berlin, so we appreciate your time and being here with us tonight. Also, thanks for the Full Node team for hosting us tonight and also hosting a bunch of other events and being an important part of this local ecosystem here in Berlin. I wanted to amplify a little bit on the community aspect. I've been also building communities. I've been running meetups in Budapest for 3 years, similar vibes, similar crowd. So I'm kind of new here, but I really feel like this is really like home. And this is, it's one of the really important aspects of these local communities that Martin also mentioned. It's, so the network is 10 years old, right? So Ethereum is, trying to decentralize the whole IT stack, not just the financial system like Bitcoin does, right? So there is a lot of potentials there. There are a lot of possibilities. The technology is really, really strong and it's getting better and it's being improved. But I think the people and the communities are also very, very important aspects of this. I think first of all, there are a lot of really, really amazing people in this ecosystem. And I think it's also because of the ethos, the values that Ethereum has and had over the last 10 years, and it still stands very strong. I think a lot of people found new meaning, new purpose, by working in the Web3 space and in the Ethereum space. After all the boring cubicle corporate jobs, I think a lot of people organically want to contribute and not just working on this as a full-time job, but also building communities, organizing events like here in Berlin and in a lot of other parts of the world. So I just wanted to also thank everyone here and everywhere else who has been building communities, events, building the ecosystem, whether it's the tech or it's communities or socials. So you're all very important part of this thing. It's a decentralized ecosystem. So without the people, without the communities, without the events, this would not be possible, right? So that's a really crucial part. And I think it's also very important to mention that a lot of these are very grassroots. So nobody's really telling anybody to do any of these. It's a very strong vision that people organically want to build on. And that's been done in the last 10 years in many different parts of the world. But just a very quick question, who is totally new to Ethereum or doesn't really heard about it, but okay, perfect. I love it. There's a little girl in the back, and amazing. She's our youngest participant. Cool. So everyone is kind of a little bit up to date. So that's amazing. So as you probably heard, there have been some changes, recent changes within the ecosystem, and also just a little bit of shift how the Ethereum Foundation is participating in the ecosystem. The Ethereum Foundation never wanted to control the ecosystem or the network or anything on that matter. So everything that's been done, a lot of these things are grassroots again. But there's been some feedback from the communities around the world, a lot of people that they would just appreciate a little more support, from the Ethereum Foundation, or generally just a little more connection and structure within the ecosystem and building communities. So I don't know if you've read this article. It's been published recently, I think in the summer, end of July, about the future of ecosystem development at the Ethereum Foundation. And I think the most important thing to highlight here is that the foundation still doesn't want to control anything or tell anybody what to do. It's more about just being there and providing more support and activating and empowering the ecosystem and amplify the ecosystem, because there's been so many amazing things done already in the past. But just be there a little bit more present and interact more. So I wanted to mention a couple of new teams. There are these new teams now that are focusing on strengthening and amplifying the ecosystem, like the enterprise acceleration, developer acceleration, app relations, founder success, digital studio, specialized events, Ethereum everywhere, which I'm part of this team. We are focusing on event support, and I will talk about it in a little bit. And the EcoDev automation team. So these are some of the new teams that will be more focused on these particular ecosystem participants and supporting them in many different ways. So as I mentioned, we are an ecosystem development and amplification team. We will be focusing on events and communities, especially the local reoccurring communities, such as regular meetups, permanent community hubs, which is a new concept. And I will also talk about that a little bit more. And there are, of course, a lot of other amazing events, pop-up cities, hackathons that are also strengthening the ecosystem. So these are our main focus areas. We are working on a more structured support system for these events. Yeah, and if you want, we just launched our Twitter account. So if you want to follow us for updates, that's the QR. You can also get in touch, but you can also find me later if you want to connect. And on that note, I wanted to mention that we just recently launched our Berlin Ethereum Community Hub, which many of you actually experienced that already. We are starting slow because this is actually in the Ethereum Foundation's office. And it's only on Wednesdays for now. There are co-working sessions during the day, open to anybody. You can submit an application. I will show the QR in a bit. And we have some social hours after to connect and get to know each other, exchange ideas, and we might have some other programs in the future. And as Martin mentioned, we also want to do some more local community activities, events, and see how we can strengthen the local community here in Berlin. Yeah, so basically I already said this, but during the day there's co-working or social hours, and if you want to join, just scan that QR and you can just fill out the application form and also spread the word. It's also for locals and people who just visit, or digital nomads, or it's not just for permanent residents here. So it's a good way to network and connect with each other. Yeah, and I just wanted to share a couple of pictures. Maybe you can spot yourself on those pictures because, as I mentioned, some of you were there. So I just kind of wanted to show some of the vibes. And on that note, I will pass it back to Martin to talk about some more privacy-related things.
Perfect. Thank you, Eniko. Yeah, just posed the question here, why we're here today. We hear about community. We've talked about that. But then secondarily, we're also here to talk about privacy. And that's the theme of today's meetup. Privacy is very important and we have a lot of work to do. We need to ensure that privacy is protected in our digital lives as well. It sometimes comes quite naturally in our normal, I guess, real world life. But we need to be very conscious of how we protect it online, on chain. And privacy is one of those things that matters for everyone. It's a lot of people can agree that we need more privacy. I think a lot of the cypherpunks definitely want way more privacy, but even if you go to a lot of enterprises and institutions, they want more privacy as well. So it's something that matters for everyone. A lot of people want to see more privacy on Ethereum, and we need to make that happen. We need to support that. And some of the strong values at the Ethereum Foundation is credible neutrality, security, openness, and all of these become even stronger, even more valuable when you pair them with privacy. And so therefore, it's very important that we push this domain forward. Yesterday, just released a blog about the EF's commitment to privacy. If you're curious to learn a little bit more about the specific initiatives that the EF is making to push privacy forward, I encourage you to check it out on the Ethereum Foundation blog. I'm not going to go too much into the initiatives and details here, but if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me afterwards. And aside of the EF, the ecosystem is growing a lot. I'm glad to know that there won't be a slideshow after this, because I was wondering if I was stealing this slide from the Web3 Privacy Now team. Really, really great overview, and they have a really great Explorer side as well if you want to learn more about different privacy projects in the ecosystem. And with that being said, now we're gonna get the real privacy experts to start talking, and not someone like me. So I'm gonna pass it over to Lefteris to hear more about privacy.